Hi, this is TECHknitter here, and I'm showing a trick called picking. Picking is a trick that you use with 4-needle double knitting, and it is one in a series of 2 videos, and the other video shows a trick called slide by, and that's also for 4-needle double knitting, and slide by is for when you have blocks of color such as those I'm pointing to here. But this video shows picking, and that's what you use when you have frequent color changes in 4-needle double knitting. Now you can see that the 4 needles in my work are connected to 2 cable needles, and that's where you get the 4 needles from. As with all double knitting, the back layer of fabric is created by purling it from the back. The opposite of a purl is a knit, so when you look at it from the front, from this side, it is a smooth stockinette fabric. The front layer of fabric is knit in an ordinary way, and so what this means for us is that the back set of needles, the 2 that I'm tapping here, the left and the right, back needles purl. Those are where the purl stitches are, and you purl with them. And the 2 front needles, the ones I'm tapping now, this one, the right, and this one, the left, are the ones with which you knit. This particular pattern requires that I now knit the 2 front stitches. So, even though I'm carrying 4 needles in my hands at all times, there are only 2 that are the operational needles. And this sort of odd thing I'm doing with the needles is that I'm rotating them around one another. When the right needle is in the lower position, such as the one that I'm tapping now, it is the operational needle. And then the left needle correspondingly gets rotated back to meet it. So if I want to knit, which is the thing I have to do now, I rotate my needle so that the right front is lower and the left front is in the back or more upright position, and I'm going to now knit my 2 green stitches from this position using only the front needles. So that's knit and again knit. Now my pattern requires that I purl 2 back stitches in purple. So I drop the green and I pick up the purple. Notice that the yarn not in use, which is now going to be the green yarn, is simply stranded between the 2 left needles. Here it is, and it's stranded between the 2 left needles. I pick up my purple yarn. I rotate the right back needle into the working position, that being the lower position. The back left needle is now in the more upright or more backwards, it's behind position, and I now purl my 2 purple stitches with the back needles. Notice that I'm holding the right working tips separated. I can actually get a finger in there, that's how separated they are, and that keeps the needles out of each other's way. So that way only the operational needles are really in a position to pick up the working yarn. Now I need to knit 2 purple stitches, so I rotate the right front needle into the lower position and the left front needle into the higher, more upright position, and I now knit these 2 stitches holding all 4 needles but only 2 operational. Do that one more time. Rotate now the right back needle into the lower position, the left back needle into the more upright or higher position, and I proceed to purl 2 stitches, again with the needles, the needle tips separated. That's purl and purl. Again, the yarn not in use is simply stranded between the two left needles until I need it again. So when I need the purple, I'll simply pick it up and work. Now you may ask why I'm not holding the yarns on the two-fisted position like this, as I would do for color knitting. And the answer is I'm just not that talented. It's not possible for me to consistently purl in the English position. For me, it's quicker to pick up and drop the two colored yarns. But of course, your hands may be more talented and you may be able to work the picking trick with the two-fisted yarn approach. I want to show you one last thing, and that is what happens when your tension gets off. This stitch here, this back green stitch, is it's a little loose. There's a little extra slack in it, and so I'm going to show you how to get rid of that, and it's really very simple. You pull the slack out by simply yanking on the yarn as it travels from needle to needle, and I'm pulling out that that green yarn and just pulling it up from needle to needle, and now it's all on the last stitch. So simply pulling on the green working yarn now has gotten rid of that slack. And as you go up the learning curve, the tension really does become more automatic, but when you start, there is a lot of manual yarn adjustment that you will find yourself doing. There's perhaps a little extra slack in that purple also, so again, it isn't very hard to get it up out of the way, and a few tugs every few stitches will control that. Truthfully, I don't really have a problem usually with the tension, as you can see, but my chattering and not really looking at the work has caused these tension problems, and certainly when I began and was going up the learning curve, I had a lot more tension problems, and manual yarn adjustment was very common for me to have to do pretty much every few stitches, but you do go up the learning curve. Last thing is that you are working very, very close to the needle tips, and yes, indeed, the stitches want to slide off, and so it's just like sock knitting when you first started it, and it just requires you to kind of concentrate there and not allow the stitches to slide off. So that was picking, and thank you for watching.